That's it. It's done.
That's awesome. So yeah, Fabio Wardley, I think he was talking about just a minute ago. That was previous segment. Yeah, let's say I think that that's he's definitely his next fight's definitely got to be for the world title. Not a world title. There's only one world title for the world title, and it's got to be against Alexander Usyk. Got to be. And I'm certain that's going to happen. I hope so. But I'd just like to say, yesterday marked the 30th anniversary of one of the best fights we've ever seen at heavyweight in Britain. It was between Scott Welch, who's on Facebook, I'm going to put his name by this, and he took on the late James Oyebola, big bad James Oyebola, who's still, I believe, holds the record for the tallest man to hold the British Heavyweight Championship. James Oyebola. I met Oyebola many years ago, God rest him, and he was a great fight, big puncher, and he fought Scott Welch the first time in America, I think Atlantic City on a Lennox Lewis show, and he stopped Scott in I think it was the 4th round or something like that, and it was a WBC international title defence. And then they had the return in Brighton at the Metropole Hotel. It was billed as the War on the Shore, taking maybe the nickname from Michael Spink's Jerry Cooney fight. That was billed as the War on the Shore in 87. But this one was in October 27th, 1995. And if you're watching Scott, because I actually sent him that fight, believe it or not, on DVD. But if you're watching Scott, happy anniversary for that fight, because that was just an amazing fight. It was non-stop. And I remember the Sky commentary team, they actually said, that's got to be the best fight we've seen in 10 years.
I will see that. Okay. Is it on YouTube? Is it on YouTube?
It should be, yeah. Yes, okay. On British soil, they said it, and it was. It was an absolute war. And Scott won the fight at the 10th round, but what a fight. What resistance, stubborn resistance, Oyebola, James Oyebola. Just a great fight. Both of them actually were managed by Frank Warren. And so it was the British Commonwealth on the line. And I think Scott also won the WBO Intercontinental, but this was for boxing's most coveted title, the British, the Lord Lonsdale Challenge Belt, and it lived up to that expectation. The first fight was a very good fight, but that second fight was an absolute classic. But Scott Welch versus James Oyebola. I can try and find that on YouTube for you and send it to you.
Scott Welch, okay.
Yeah, Scott Welch. He's actually a WBC. He works for the WBC World Boxing Council. He's sort of like WBC Cares ambassador for children and that kind of thing. So and vulnerable.
That's nice.
So he's a really good guy. He lives in Brighton, around that way. And so it was basically on his own turf. But that was an absolute cracking contest. Absolute amazing fight. Just a war. It was War at the Shore. It was just that. And literally it was, I think, because I've been to Brighton. I'm sure I've seen this Metropole Hotel. It was literally 50 metres away from the actual sea. So because you've got the road and then the beach, and so it was just amazing. So happy anniversary, Scott Welch.
Oh wow! Okay, it's happy anniversary for this fight. We will remember that. 1995.
Yes, okay. 95. Yeah, amazing.
Wow.
But we was talking about Fabio Wardley. As I say, he's got the world on his hands at the moment. He's got the world on the end of his. He's basically, this win, as I said, has propelled him up into a genuine world heavyweight championship. No one can argue about, does he deserve the chance? He went out and he earned the chance on Saturday night against Parker.
I was impressed, with his body shot. Very good body shot, this guy, Very fast also, in his body shot. And I think Parker was hurt, about the body shot,
Yeah, Parker admitted after the fight, he was very gracious in defeat. Parker was, because he's a gentleman. And so is Wardley. Fabio Wardley's a nice guy, I've never met him, but stuff I've heard about him, he's a really genuine kind of guy. And it's nice when you get genuine people. They make something of themselves. It makes me happy for them. But he is
as you told Michael, you told before, you told about Parker. He what he said about after the fight. He said maybe the referee stopped the fight too early. Because I think I was not hurt. But I'm not sure about that, Michael. Wardley made, I think, 8 punches in a row, It's a lot of punches, on Parker.
Yeah, I mean, Parker's an old war person, he's a warrior. And, I know what you're saying, but to me, it was just a little premature. I think he could have let it go on another 10 seconds. Maybe, but that's just my opinion.
You don't think every freak has to protect, a boxer, also in heavyweight, Michael. Punches are very dangerous in heavyweight.
Absolutely. Safety is priority in boxing.
Yeah,
as it is in any sport. That's without a shadow of a doubt. But and absolutely, of course, we want to see guys leave the ring okay with their faculties in place. But the thing is, for me, it was just a little bit too premature. I just felt that he could have given Parker the benefit of the doubt, give him another 10, 20 seconds. I know it only takes one split second for one punch to land, and it's, but I just felt that he was 2 rounds up. Two judges had him winning the fight on the scorecards afterwards. So yes, again, Fabio Wardley produced a miracle come from behind stoppage win, which he seems to have an habit of doing this. But which adds to the excitement of him,
And do you think we will see a rematch, Michael? What do you think about it?
Not yet. No, I mean, there's
not yet.
From a boxing side, yes, there should be a rematch, but from a business perspective, and that's what Frank Warren wants, is it's money, and that's what it's about. And from a business perspective, there's only one fight that Warren wants for Wardley, and one fight that Wardley wants, and that's music.
It won't be payable. Okay.
Yeah, irrespective of the stoppage, he won the fight. That's it. It's done and dusted. So now he's won. He's now in line for music. Okay. He needs to have a rest. See, if he had won that fight, excuse me, if he had won that fight in 1 or 2 rounds, he would have, been relatively fresh after the fight, and then he could have gone for the April fight against Usyk or May fight. But again, he may well get in there for April or May, but I'd like to see him rest. I think he needs to rest. Because
I agree with you.
Oh, he needs to rest. I mean, just getting back, I know I keep going on about old days, but Matthew Hilton with Robert Hines. And, we know Matthew was injured going into that fight, and Hines won the fight. Can't take nothing away from Hines. He absolutely showed so much art and determination, and he won the fight fair and square. He won it on points. But when he won the fight in November of 1988, beating Matthew, he made a defence in February of 1989. That is, with training camp, is not long enough to have a rest. He should have had at least 6-7 months off before he went into his first defence against Darren Schoolboy Van Om. Now, that was poor management, as far as I'm concerned, by Hines' people. He's one of the Philadelphians, a great fighter. But, and he's in a true Philadelphian mold, tough and gritty, just like Joe Frazier. But, so this is the same thing, and sometimes you have to go back to put examples across, and maybe some of our younger listeners won't be too familiar with Robert Hines and Darren Schoolboy Van Om. But this is an example, a perfect example regarding Wardley. He should be having at least 6-7 months off before he's even going into camp. He needs to rest big time, because that took a lot out of him, that fight. To go into a fight in April against Usyk, I don't think that's a good idea. I think he should let.
It was a hard fight against Parker. It was not a walk in the park, Michael.
No, it was a torrid fight. It was a torrid affair, set at an amazing pace. It was just a war of attrition. and that's what it was. It was non-stop pretty much. And I know I said I made you laugh when I said that Wardley reminded me of Marciano, but when he was chipping away at Parker towards the end, he was very Marciano-like in his style. I know Marciano was 6'5", but he was very Marciano-like the way he was fighting, just chipping away until he got the stoppage. You know, he had that same grit, that same determination, and again, as I think we said in the previous episode 7, about this Wardley fight, and again when he won the title against Justice Uni, it was kind of reminiscent of Rocky Marciano when he beat Jersey Joe Walcott. So he's got that quality like Marciano. He's an heavy puncher. He's got late rounds power. He can hit a guy basically on the chin in the first round or the 12th round and now go. And that is a very dangerous opponent. And the same is, there's that imminent threat, even with Usyk. Usyk knows it's not going to be an easy fight. It's not going to be an easy fight. When you've got a guy who's dogged like him, he's got a dogged determination, and he's got great punch resistance, and he's a big guy at 6'5". He's a bit taller than Usyk, and I believe he's got quite a long, good reach on him, Wardley. It's not going to be an easy assignment for Usyk. No chance there. I think it's going to be a points win for him, but it's going to be a tough fight.
Michael, according to me, the last fight, Parker against Wardley, I've seen, Parker not very mobile, in the ring, he was, I don't know, Wardley was mobile, he moved a lot in the ring, but not Parker. Parker, and it was a difficult fight for Wardley, because as I told you, at the 9th round, Parker was the lead in this fight, but as I told you, one punch in heavyweight, and it's done,
Absolutely.
The fight is done.
It renders the scorecards useless. It's Matthew Hilton, but he was just one of those. He could just render a guy unconscious, and the scorecards are useless. You've got a big puncher like that, and Wardley is a massive puncher. He's proven. And the thing is, I like to say, Wardley actually goes, he supports his beloved Ipswich town. He actually goes there, and, he's such a, as I say, like Ricky Ack, God rest him, he's a down-to-earth kind of guy, knows where he's from. And anyone from Ipswich, they must be as pleased and as so proud to have him. He's such a good guy, and he's putting Ipswich on the boxing map. He certainly is. We've had some good fighters. There was a Andy boxing circuit. He was a good fighter. There's a load of good guys, in the 80s, there was a guy, I've got him on my post in here. What's his name? Rory Burke. Yeah, Rory Burke. He was from sort of Norwich, Ipswich. He was a good box fighter. Good, but they've had some good guys like David Starr and Joe Kalsaki. He was British champion, but Wardley's flying the flag for Anglian boxing at the moment. Now, for British boxing, really, he's a major star now.
But last week you told me, Moises Itoma, but what do you think about it, Moises Itoma against Fabio Wardley, Michael?
That fight, if it ever does happen, that will be after Usyk versus Wardley.
No, it's not the same interest yet.
That's about 18 months away at the earliest. Itama needs to keep doing what he's doing, but he needs to start upping up these opposition. They need to start putting him in with guys who are going to give him a test who's going to be there, for a few rounds. He needs rounds. As I say, there's so many boxes for that guy to tick. It's the same with Wardley, but Wardley on that one performance last week, he had a lot of critics, a lot of doubters, including myself after the win over Justice Uni. But this win on Saturday, as I say, he's shut up the critics and the doubters, and he's absolutely made a fan of me. It's hard for me if he fights Usyk because I don't know who I want to win. I like them both, but I probably would have to root for Wardley because he's British, and we need a heavyweight championship out here.
So,
The Americans have always laughed at the British over the years. We
yes.
had obviously guys like Brian London fighting Don Cocker, Marciano, he fell, and they was known as. But our guy Tommy Farr from Wales, he boxed Joe Louis' first.
Oh, yes. Okay.
He flew the flag because he went to 15 rounds with the Brown Bomber, and they reckon he should have got that decision against Joe Louis. But and our heavyweights were the laughing stock with the Americans, the horizontal heavyweight. But Joe Bunya, who lost recently, he put that to rest because he was the one British heavyweight, Hungarian really, but British.
Okay.
He put that to rest because he stood tall against Ali twice and Joe Frazier, amongst others. So, but then, since then, they've had their little pops with like guys like Frank Bruno, Lennox Lewis, because they both got stopped in world type fights. But now the British are invading again, and it's outside of music. We've got probably the two best heavyweights there is in Wardley and Fury. But Ituama, he needs to, as I say, get the rounds in the bank. He needs to,
to take experience,
having an opponent who's going to pose him questions, and is he going to have the answers?
You're right.
It's every single prospect that comes up. This is every single one. A lot of fighters get manufactured, and Ituama seems to have been in the early going have a manufactured career, fighting easy, inept opposition. Guys who he's going to beat, who are going to go around to them. This proves nothing. This is how fighters get hurt. These opponents who get stopped early. Guys need to have learning fights, and I'll get back to Carlo Colabuso. From the 80s, 90s. He was a guy who was chucked in pretty much at the deep end in his pro career to begin with. He was going in against light heavyweights, against experienced guys, name fighters. But the thing is with Carlo, he kept it in, and he never had nothing easy. And there is the perfect blueprint for a career for any fighter that's, fighting at the moment. If you're watching, listening to this show of mine and Mitch's, if you've got a few losses and you're thinking of packing it, you don't. Carry on. Carlo Colabuso carried on. He went against the odds and he got into a title fight. He won a coveted title. The Welsh title was a coveted title, and many great Welsh fighters have held that title. And he got to challenge for the British title, nearly won it, And so never say never. Never, ever think, I'm going to quit. Always keep on. We had a guy boxed on that show on Saturday, Richard, on the Fabio Wardley Joe Parker show. Guy from Clapton, which isn't too far from here. And his name's Arthur Dawson. And he is a terrific fighter. I think he's light welterweight. And Gareth Bayford, who trains him, a top bloke, lovely guy, real proper boxing man, Gareth is. And, you talk boxing to him, and I could sit there for hours talking to him because his knowledge is just amazing. And Gareth, I think he's quite a bit younger than me, but his knowledge, he's just got such a great knowledge, and he's a great guy as a trainer. He knows the game inside out. He's done the box, he's boxed himself, and he's training. And he's got an ABA coach now, but he's also now got Arnie Dawson training his gym in Clacton-on-Sea, seconds out the gym. It's a great little gym. Big gym, actually. It's a good-sized gym. And but Arnie Dawson, he was undefeated. He boxed in America. I can't place the guy, but he knocked the guy spark out. He is some puncher. Anyhow, we went in against a guy called Mitchell Smith on Saturday, and he really performed really good. He didn't get the win, but again, it's a setback. But he can come back from that. He can come back stronger. So if you're watching Arnie, and Gareth will hopefully be watching, I'll put them by the show. Just keep at him, because you've got a massive future in this game, and I can see titles coming into his weight fairly soon, because he really is up there. He went onto the big stage on Saturday. The world was watching, and he performed greatly. He really performed amazingly well. So he is definitely a name to look out for. Definitely, Arnie Dawson.
So thank you, Michael. I think we're going to make a montage, with on what we've said today. I think it was a very good podcast, and I don't know what we're going to talking about the next show, Michael. But
there's only one fight: Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, sure. Well, who do you think is going to win, between those two fighters, by the way?
It depends. Are you listening, Eddie? You're about 20 miles from me in Brentwood. You've got Arnie Dawson and Fabio Wardley. They live in that direction. Eddie Earnings is in that direction. Eddie Earnings in Brentwood, Essex. If he doesn't do the old weight thing again, and Eubank's allowed to come in as a fully fledged super middleweight, it will answer a lot of. I mean, was it that fight, Al? That he wasn't fully fledged super middle Eubank in the first fight. So was it that where he was more than likely weakened slightly that helped Ben perform so well? But if Eubank comes in as super middleweight, his natural weight, fully fledged, then this will be, I think, a bigger test for Ben.
Yeah, I think so. But he's got a lot of heart, Mr. Ben.
Oh, absolutely. Another one who ticked a lot of boxes, just like Fabio Wardley. Conor Benn ticked a lot of boxes. He showed he's got the art.
Oh yeah,
definitely. He's got a great chin, also. But he's dead.
Oh yeah, he's got a great chin. Also, yes, you're right.
And, never say die attitude. He'd get in there and he would have a proper round. And as Nigel Benn once said, he had some great fights in the ring, but he had some better ones outside in the streets.
Michael, I've seen a fight, with Eubank Jr., Chris Eubank Jr. and Mr. Billy Joe Sanders.
Oh yes, Billy Joe Saunders. He was a great fighter. He had a great fight at Canada, didn't he?
It was a very great fight, Michael.
Yeah, he was a great performance. David Lemieux, he boxed an absolute masterclass. But the thing is, he's another world champion. He went up and fought Canelo, didn't he? He got beat by Canelo.
Yes, but, he was at the top at that time.
Yeah, Eubank is a bona fide, genuine, world-class super middleweight. And rumour has it that after this fight, he will be going for possibly win, lose or draw, going for a shot at Terence Crawford, who's obviously world super.
Oh yeah, okay.
But again, I'd like to see Crawford call it a day. He's proved everything. He has nothing left to prove, unless there's a rematch with Mr. Canelo. Americana, you listening?
Americana.
Can you hear me down there?
Thank you very much, Michael. Have a nice evening, and we'll talk later. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, Michael.